what I am thankful for is it brought me around to something most people don't know about, even in the low-carb community. It's called remnant cholesterol. And I think Wikipedia actually summarizes this really well. They say, look, remnant cholesterol, also known as remnant lipoprotein, is a very atherogenic lipoprotein composed primarily of very low-density lipoproteins, that's these guys, and intermediate-density lipoproteins, that's these guys. Stated another way, remnant cholesterol is all plasma cholesterol that is not LDL cholesterol or HDL cholesterol. And this was a big moment for me because before I read any further studies, I said this is actually a perfect match for what it is that I believe is ultimately the root cause of the disease. The remnant cholesterol people are saying that it's a more atherogenic particle. I don't think so. I think it's a failure of the VLDLs from being able to drop off energy. Fat-based energy, version of triglycerides. So, what do you suppose remnant cholesterol is highly correlated with? Sure enough, it correlates closely to insulin resistance. In fact, remnant cholesterol correlates much closer to insulin resistance than what I've seen with LDL, as Ivor brought up. Same thing with ischemic heart disease. Notice, by the way, as HDL is going down, remnant cholesterol is going up, even with LDL hardly moving at all. Myocardial infarction. Remnant cholesterol was the lipid fraction most associated with premature myocardial infarction. And my favorite of all-cause mortality. Now, which graph do you think you would want to be in? On the LDL moving up or on the remnant cholesterol moving up? I want to talk about Craig Moffit, who, by the way, contributes a lot to our website. Thank you, Craig. And he also will have some data that I'll show you in a second. But would you guess that he's a lean mass hyperresponder? Yeah, he's actually very thin, and he's very athletic. His total cholesterol is 457 milligrams per deciliter. And I hope you've had your beta blocker. His LDL-C is 335. His HDL-C is 109, and his triglycerides are 67. He is the picture of a far-end lean mass hyperresponder. So you would at least expect remnant cholesterol to probably go with scale, right? Like probably it's just a bit higher anyway. Well, you could probably do the math right now. Actually, it's 13 milligrams per deciliter. It's actually just 1 pip higher than mine on my last test. So how do you calculate remnant cholesterol? Well, there is a caveat to that, which I'll say in a second. But yes, you just take your total cholesterol, you subtract your LDL, you subtract your HDL. You can be forgiven if you thought that actually this whole time total cholesterol was those two added together. No. That remainder is those VLDL boats, those IDL boats, and specifically the cargo of cholesterol that's inside them. And this is what's neat. I literally calculated this just this morning. Cholesterol code data from our site for remnant cholesterol, we have a whole bunch of submitted labs that people have, and I created the criteria of an LDL cholesterol of 200 milligrams a deciliter or above, right? That, by the way, is well into range of familial hypercholesterolemia, which means your doctor will almost certainly give you 2 medications before you can leave the office, right? There's probably statin police around the corner, and he just calls them in or something. But with triglycerides of at least 100 milligrams per deciliter or lower. And what's neat is we now have a lot of entries just on the site of 456 total. Of that, I found 138 that met this criteria. How many of those hyper-responders who are typically on a low-carb, high-fat diet, for the highest, and medium risk categories combined, we ended up with a total of 9 out of the 138. For the medium lowest quintile, 44. For the lowest quintile of remnant cholesterol, 84. So over 90% of those that have submitted in concern to our site about their high levels of LDL cholesterol, and in particular, I'm picking them out for those who have 200 and above, over 90% of them have very low remnant cholesterol.